Hey guys, today while using Nodus I'm going to teach you how to create a subgraph or a subfunction within the system. So first of all, create your empty game object or choose whichever game object you want to apply your graph to and apply your graph. Now where Nodus is concerned, you've got one of two options. You can either add nodes from the C# scripted backend, which is handy, but if you don't want to have to do any scripting yourself to add more functions, you can right click at any time and make a subgraph. Now you can either open this by right clicking using this open subgraph context menu, or double click it. Now in here you can set up a bunch of logic that you want to run every time, and it'll appear as this one node, similar to every other node. For instance, let's pick a random one. Math. Yeah, say an if. See, it looks just like a normal function. So the first things we're going to do, the example I think I'll show you today will be a timer function. So it'll wait a specified amount of time before firing, and then we'll reset immediately, and it's based on an interval. So we'll call this timer. We'll add 3 variables, and we'll make this first one a float, and we'll make this our interval. Now it's an inner variable, just treat it as if it's a parameter coming into a function. Second one, we'll say occur time. We'll want it to not be inner or outer, so treat it as like a private variable within the function, or an encapsulated variable. We want it to be a float as well, and we'll leave its occur time set to 0. And then finally we will want a boolean, and we'll call this fired. So now, last thing about fired, we'll want to make sure that it comes out as an outer or return variable. So whenever I come out to here, you'll be able to see that, like any other function, it accepts inners and outers, so it'll tell you whether or not it's fired. So if we go back into timer, we now start setting up our logic. So we'll want a setter for fired. Every frame, or every time this is called, we automatically want to make sure it's set to off. And then we'll use an if float statement. So let's see, if the current time, let's put that into A. Right, so if the current time is, we'll need a setter for this first. If the current time is less than 0 or equal to 0, we're going to want to reset to our interval. Just tidy that up. And then we're going to mark fired as true, because for this one frame it is true. And then if it's not true, we will use get delta time unity engine time variable. Let's get delta time. Note, if there's stuff you constantly want to access, you can just tag it into favorites. It'll always stay there for you. So if A is still greater than B, so it's greater than 0, then we want float minus float, and we'll take the value and remove or decrement it by delta time, and then we will set the value again. And that's what's done. That is the entirety of a timer function. So we'll now clean this up. Decrement, make that a red. reset and fire, and we'll make that a nice green. And defaults and checking. And what the hell, let's make it blue. Darker blue, there we go. So now that this has been created, we can see it as our timer function available here. Now the handy thing here is we can actually save the subgraph as an asset. So just say to the root assets directory, you'll now see the timers available here, and it shows the exact layout of everything in the preview window. So say, you know, this was a new object that had nothing in it, you can anytime drag and drop. There's created for you. So we'll actually just use this on update Nodus events, on update graph, and we'll actually make a public variable single, and we'll call this our interval. We'll pass it in from the actual game object, and we'll make it say 0.5. So every 0.5 seconds this should fire, and we'll bring up our user log, standard log. So if this has fired, branch, boolean branch, pick everything up. So only if it's fired do we want to say we have fired. So now if I actually let this run and I open the end console, every 0.5 seconds, and I'll actually change this here in the inspector, say to every 5 seconds. So fired, and fired again. So it's very useful. And that's everything for today. Thanks for watching, and I hope this helped. Bye.